Welcome to the Career Success
Hello, sir.
Conversations. Yes, so today we have Sushant Bothe with us. He's a very special guest because he's someone who followed his passion for football and he did something great, in his life, which he always wanted to do. So let us hear from Sushant. Let us get into conversation with Sushant today and learn from his journey how he followed his passion. So welcome Sushant to these career success conversations.
Hello, sir. Thank you for inviting me to talk, and hello to everyone listening out there. It's great to have a face-to-face with Hemant, sir. We've previously just spoken on the phone. Now it's our first face-to-face meeting, so it's a great feeling now.
Yes, yes. So yeah, a lot of our sessions happened, before pandemic. So uh,
Correct. That was a different era altogether.
Zoom was not that prevalent,
Yeah.
and we had our coaching sessions on phone. So Sushant, we would really love to hear from you that, you know, uh, what what was your career journey like? Let's begin with that a little bit. And
Okay.
where did you start, and at what point you started, feeling like following your passion, and we'll come to
Hmm.
that.
So initially, actually, I started working pretty early, and it happened by chance because in school we got introduced to French as a subject. And I immediately took a liking to it and started scoring well. So after my 10th standard, I joined the Alliance Française de Pune. It's the leading French institute here, and I completed all my levels by the time I was 17. So then, in my class on the higher level, it's called C1. There was a woman who was also working in a translation company. So she told me that she thought I could do well in that company and I should join at least part time. So I joined when I was barely 18 and I stuck with that company. I completed my graduation on the side and I worked with the same company for 10 years. So initially part time, then full time. So earlier it was great. It was like, I love the language. I love this. It's to do with computers. I get my time. And it was a consulting. So it wasn't, I was a salaried employee as a consultant technically. So I had kind of my desired working hours and everything was working absolutely fine.
Okay.
But then since I started very early, I think the flame started burning out early as well. Because
Uh-huh.
starting at 17, I didn't really have a chance to explore anything else. It was just that this is in front of me. I'm doing it well. The owner was, very encouraging, and he was also supportive of this as a career path.
Okay.
So I think most of my early adult life I spent in translating. And then we also learned Italian. The company provided for a tutor. I joined a Spanish institute and did a level or two of that. So actually, it was going quite well.
Okay.
And by the time then I got married at 25 to Madura. And after I think 2018, things came to a standstill. So at
Okay.
that time, I started not enjoying translation so much.
Mhm.
The environment was becoming repetitive, and I was
Okay.
feeling the yearning to try something new, but
Hmm.
had no idea what to do. And I think that reflected in my approach. So one day I decided enough is enough. I'll stop working for now and I'll continue as a freelancer. So
Okay.
then that was supposed to be the ultimate solution with my own freedom and my freedom to work whenever I want.
Okay. And
But
which
it
year
did
was that, Sushant? Which year was that?
2018
2018. Okay. Hmm.
March. And since I hadn't taken a proper vacation since I was 17 years old, because even if college had a vacation, work was still going on.
Okay.
So I
Hmm.
decided to take 2 or 3 months off completely once
Okay.
I left my job. So it was like I won't even try to get work. I'll just stay here and I'll chill. I'll see what if something happens. Otherwise, I'm taking a long vacation.
Okay.
I did that, but it turned out to be a longer vacation than I suspected because then once
Okay.
the lethargy set in, it was very hard for me to get back up and either start something new or then at least try to make clients, get new clients.
Yeah.
But the environment in which you work, in which I worked for a long
Yeah.
time, it was clients were brought to me. I just had to
Uh-huh.
deliver the end product.
Okay.
But now I was my own boss, so that also entailed talking to new people, finding new clients, which I didn't find it to be easy at all
Okay.
because by nature I am not someone who goes out of his way to talk to people. If
Okay.
someone comes to me, I am very happy to talk to them, but I'm not an extrovert person. So by I think 6 or 7 months later, stagnation had really set in after I left my job. It was getting kind of frustrating.
Okay.
and hopeless. I
Hmm.
might not, I don't know what to do. So there is no first clear step of what to do. So then got I got some inspiration and I registered my translation company. So I'm the sole proprietor and I just made it so it's a step towards, big growing in that industry. But 7 or 8 months into the company, that's when I figured out that translation is not what I wanted to do then, because it had been more than a decade. So 8 to 10 years with the company, 1 year by myself, but it didn't give me joy anymore. And the money is good, but then again, there is no, I was young, so it was not like I had a family to support. So I wanted to do something challenging while I had the time and energy.
Yeah.
So that's when, while soul searching, and my parents actually found your reference online,
Oh,
and
okay.
they encouraged me. Yes, my father, he really encouraged me to talk to you and see what happens.
Okay.
See what happens. I was initially very reluctant because
I lost your audio. I think you're gone on mute.
someone was calling me. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Can you
No
hear me now?
problem. I can hear you. Yes.
Huh.
Go ahead.
So it was very, I never believed in self help or coaching, but then I said, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Then we had our discovery call, and I was
Yes.
really encouraged. And by that
Yes.
time, I had no idea what I wanted to. I wanted to do.
Yes.
I knew what I like doing. I knew, but I didn't know how to make that into something that I will work on as a career.
Right. And
So
I still remember, Sushant,
yeah,
our discovery call. Okay.
yes,
And I still remember that very distinctly because you were, you were uh, wanting to do something.
yes,
Like you spoke about your passion, you spoke about your passion for football. Of course, you spoke about, the work that you have done in translation and
yes.
how you had come to that point of, we can call, I mean, like you said, boredom or monotony of the work.
Hmm.
Um, and I distinctly remember that you wanted to change it. You wanted to, change over to how to
Correct.
follow your passion. But I could also remember that you said that Hemant, this conversation was good,
Hmm.
but let me think about it. So you
Correct.
told me, I remember this distinctly, that you told me after this conversation was very useful. And you told me after this conversation, I'm going to go and maybe sit on a hilltop, think
Correct.
about this conversation, and then come back to you. So,
Yes.
right. So it would be very, useful for our audience to know that what was going on in your mind after our conversation.
That's actually, I didn't remember that. Now I do. I
Okay.
actually took my motorcycle and went on a long ride to Lavasa side. And there
Oh,
I
okay.
found a small hill and I just sat on it for 2 hours doing nothing.
Okay.
And at that time, in what was going on in my mind was, am I too scared to take this step? Should I
Hmm.
take this step? Is this step worth it? What am I doing in with my life right now? And then all of that just suddenly fell silent. And I
Hmm.
was just sitting there thinking, wondering. And then at once it hit me that what's the harm in trying?
Hmm.
Why should I not take a step if that step might potentially lead to something good?
Yeah.
And that's when I decided that I will give this a try with all my heart. I won't do it. If I wasn't 100% convinced, I wouldn't have continued with that. But
Yeah.
that's when it was kind of at my lowest point career wise. But
Hmm.
that's when I said there's no way but up. So why not just try it? And I had really liked our conversation, but as I
Yeah.
said, I used to be skeptical of this concept as a whole, which I am
Yes.
not now.
Yes.
But that time, that's why it took me around that much time to come to the decision to
Understood.
continue with our years.
Understood. And now, Sushant, you have yourself become a coach.
Yes,
Right? You
and
are a
it's
football coach, right?
correct.
And it is in the family. Now, your wife is also a coach, Madhura. So, Madhura and I had a conversation earlier through these career
Yes, yes.
success conversations, right? So, you are a coach. Now, what you shared is very important, Sushant.
Hmm,
That one is that coaching is not very prevalent in India.
correct.
So, a lot of people have not experienced coaching, and it could be interesting to see how we come to that point where we start thinking about coaching. you
Hmm,
know you talked about it a little bit, like you had come to the lowest point of your career at that point in time and you
correct.
thought about it. But what so So you had this passion in mind for football. I mean, you
Yes,
have played football for so many years, right? You have played
20
football
years.
for 20 years, and we'll talk about that also a little later.
Yeah.
So you were clear about your passion, but if I can ask you that, what were the challenges that you experienced at that point in time that
Hmm.
stopped you from following your passion? If you can share that with us.
In football. So you mean before we spoke?
Yes. Yes.
So firstly, it was the complete lack of business background.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Okay.
had no idea what were the steps to take to start something of your own,
Mm.
and what it takes, the risk reward ratio, and speaking to people. As I said, that was a
Yes.
huge deal for me. So going
Yeah.
to someone who I don't know, who has who doesn't know me and has no connection whatsoever, and
Mm.
approaching them, asking them about how I can set this up, so permissions, etc. That
Yeah.
was the first big challenge. Actually, the biggest challenge was getting myself to go out and do stuff rather than sitting at home and planning.
Right.
Planning is wonderful, but if you don't execute it, there is no point.
Absolutely agree.
That was the biggest point. And once the first time I went to, so we live in Bugao, Songbird. So there's a turf here. And when I contacted them initially, someone had just beat me to it. There was a person who had contacted them one day before I had.
Yes.
And he had, I think, two locations of his
Mm.
academy already
Mm.
set up.
Yeah.
I think I spoke to you about this in another
Yes.
session. I was extremely disappointed because I had
Yeah.
gathered up the courage and done everything and went there. And it turned out that they had chosen him.
Yes.
But then I decided to persevere because I had given it my 100% focus. So I just said to them, it's okay that you have chosen this guy, but if at all it doesn't work with him, I am going to be here. Call me. And I made friends with that manager there. So I made a connection.
Yes. Yes.
Asked him to inform me before anything else.
Yes.
So it turned out that a month later the other thing didn't work out for whatever reason. And then I immediately swooped in and I said to them that I will be here from 4 to 6.
Yeah.
I will be here coaching. Let the kids come. Even if they don't come, I will be here. So once they
Yeah.
see me, they will come here. And then that was again a difficult step to go there and be potentially alone, standing there, people looking at you, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
But it didn't happen as I feared. Actually, once people saw me, in 5 minutes there were six kids there,
Yeah.
and in I think an hour I had 12 kids who were just trying out, so they weren't joining yet. But at
Yeah.
least I knew that they were liking what I was teaching. And from the next day, six kids out of the 12 had joined, and then it just began, and I was very happy. But then after the initial 2 or 3 days, it turned out that teaching as a concept is all well and fine in your head, but then
Yeah.
explaining it to people and then children and 6 and 7 of them at a time
Yeah.
was pretty difficult. But then the love
Mm.
of the game helped me, and
Mm.
20 years experience, even if it's not coaching, just playing, it does give you some innate sense of understanding of the game, which I can, share, impart with them, and they really click. So
Yeah.
it turned out to be a great journey overall. That was I think 15th of June 2019. That was the day, first day.
First day. First
Yes.
day. Yeah. That was the big leap of faith
Yes.
for you, right? So
And I
so the
landed on my feet.
and right, you landed on your feet. Yes, that was leap of faith, and you landed on your feet. That very well said. So we'll talk about your experience as a coach, with this football academy that you
Hmm.
started. Okay, we'll talk about that. But before that,
Hmm.
uh, let's talk about how your coaching journey started. What was the goal that you had
Ah,
set up with
ah.
us? Yeah, with us, the two of us working together. What was your
Hmm.
goal from the coaching journey? What is it that you wanted to achieve? What was the goal?
Actually, as I said before, I was
Yeah.
skeptical.
Yes.
But then my goal, when after I, thought about it alone, my goal was to find something in life which I know I can do sustainably without getting tired of it. And
Yeah.
as a bonus, get money out of it, which all
Yes.
of us want to.
Yes.
But I figured that after 10 years of just grinding for money, I owed myself something which I enjoy.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do that. And my goal was to find a way to gain that business perspective,
Hmm.
gain that confidence. So even you were a stranger to Ben, so even confiding in you and opening up to you was a challenge.
Hmm.
But as we spoke, as we connected, I figured that if we could do it, I can do it with other people. And I also decided to use some of your methods with my, students.
Sure.
So that also helped me a lot. So initially, my goal was not to be a football coach. My goal was to be find something to do with something I love, and hopefully it turns out well. And thankfully, it did.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that, Sushant. I remember that you had sent the introduction form
Yes.
to me before we spoke for the first time, right? And in that you had mentioned that I want to follow something that I love. I want to
Yes.
do the work that I love, that I love to do. And today I'm seeing that you're doing that, in your football coaching, right? So what were the elements that you found useful through our coaching journey that helped you take one step forward?
So to sum it up very shortly, first was outsider perspective, because our minds are biased about what we can do and can't do, and it takes someone else to tell you that no, you can do it. You just have to try. The other thing is your experience with business, and life experience, which you helped me with uh, putting a frame to my problems, a framework to my problems. So in the end, they turned out to be not so big as I imagined. They turned out to be easily conquerable. I
Yeah,
just needed the push. Point three, the push, the encouragement, which I received from you, and I'm really thankful to you for.
sure.
And point four, it was just someone who had actually started his own business to bounce off ideas with. That was also very invaluable, because my father has been, my father, mother, they are employees, salaried employees, and they are very happy with what they have. And whatever they have done excellently, but they didn't do a business. So,
Yes.
and my father has been a great source of ideas. So
Hmm.
him and you have bounced off, both of you, for new ideas and new approaches.
Yes.
But I think we also, got hit it off on a personal note during our session. So it was a good experience.
Yes.
So those were the 4 points.
Sure, sure. Thank you for summarizing that. And you're absolutely right, Sushant, that you know family support is so very important as well.
Yes,
Like you mentioned that your father was supportive. And coach helps you because coach is unbiased towards you.
correct,
Now you are unbiased towards your coaches, right? When you are
correct.
you are as a football coach, right? So let's talk about that a little bit now, right?
Yeah.
So uh, you spoke about a little bit about how you started football coaching at PwC. So tell us
Hmm.
a little bit about how you started, how people came to know, how was that journey like? Please take us through that.
So first thing I figured out was that since this is, it's not in the heart of the city, there is a demand for such sporting coaching activities basically.
Yeah,
And the PwC has excellent infrastructure. So I thought
yeah.
that one
What
plus
is
one.
what is PwC? If you can tell
So it's
people.
the Pune Western Club. It's a club in the Songbird Society,
Yeah.
which has excellent sports infrastructure, and that is where I coach. So
Yes, and it
I
is
attend.
one of the best facilities
Correct.
in Pune, and it is towards the west side of Pune. There is a place called Bhugav, and Songbird is one of the biggest societies there, and
Yeah, ahead of Chandani Chowk.
ahead of Chandani Chowk. Yes, so that is where you do your football coaching. So
Yes.
so that people can know where you are, and
Correct. Correct.
they can contact you also, and we will share your contact details
Thank you so much. Yes.
below this video so that they can contact you. So yes, please tell us more about that journey. Yes, go ahead.
Huh. So initially, since like I said, I had no experience about anything other than football, actual coaching. So it turned out that procuring equipment, logistics, speaking with the
Hmm.
manager about rent, then deciding the rent, then deciding the fees, and all of that. It took a lot of thought, even though it now it seems so trivial because I have in hindsight. But that time I spent days and days deciding what would the perfect amount would be, how much the people would be willing to pay. I did a
Hmm.
sample survey of the people that if
Hmm.
at all there was a service, how much would you pay?
Hmm.
And then I figured that the first 6 months, the money was not an issue at all. So
Hmm.
I negotiated as best as I could with the club, but I didn't expect to make any money in the first 6 months because the
Hmm.
kids would take time to warm up, and
Hmm.
with coaching it's about quantity more than the actual fee. The more children, the more profit you make.
Yes. Yes.
So, and my approach was showing the kids I am into football as much as them, and actually more than them, because I stand there. I am practicing by myself. I've set out my course, and they see that, they get inspired.
Yes.
In all my coaching time, I think it's been almost 2 years. Yeah, it will be 2 years soon. I have actually benefited from it because I am also being very active 3 hours a day. I
Yes.
have three batches right now, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, according to
Wow.
age. And the kids really respond when you run around with them as a coach. So there are times when I have to be strict and a coach and from the outside, but there are times when, all of us just play together and they find it really nice that I am kind of one of them. So they feel very open. They have opened up to me about so many things. It's like a personal mentorship kind of a thing, not
Yeah.
officially, but they talk to me about stuff. And I think they also
Understand.
find it good that there is an adult person in their life who can relate to what their problems are better than their parents who are older than I am.
Yes.
So that's a good plus point of that coaching apart from
Yeah.
football.
Yes.
So initially it was, I think, just 6 kids, like I mentioned,
Mhm.
and even that seemed a lot to me. So I was finding it
Mhm.
difficult to keep my focus on all of them, make sure that everyone gets personal attention, and nobody feels left out.
Mm.
And it was very going very nicely. But in the coaching thing, the school calendar makes a huge difference. So
Mm.
during
Mm.
exam times, there is no one. If it rains too much, there is no one. So I had
Mm.
to account for all of that in my planning of what sessions, how to take when. And then once the kids liked it, they started calling their friends, who called their friends, who told their
Yeah.
parents, who told their friends. And initially it was just Songbird, but now I have students from Forest Trails, Rivera. So I think 5 kilometer radius,
Wow.
Cloud Road.
Wow. Word of mouth is the
Word
best
of mouth has
marketing
helped. Yes.
strategy. Yes.
And another tip for the listeners, I tried Instagram advertising, didn't work. So unless you have a
Okay.
product to sell, there is not much point in that.
Right.
Word of mouth and your effort is what sells.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
there
And I
is,
can see
yeah.
that, Sushant, you did, you took so many actions
Yes.
going out of your comfort zone. So tell us a little bit about, if there was a mindset shift, if at all
Hmm.
there
Hmm.
was. So what was the mindset shift that happened to you, when you started all of this?
To put it metaphorically, it was like, diving off a board into a pool. You're very afraid of it the first time, but once you do it, you like it so much, you do it repeatedly. So the
Mm.
first time I took that dive, spoke to kids and all, I was very scared, but then I realized I'm good at it and they like it. And then my mindset changed so much. It was instantaneous that I began actively pursuing more students. Initially, it was like I'll just manage what whoever comes to me. But then once I knew that end of it was managed, the coaching part, then I
Yeah.
started saying that what else can't I do? Then I figured out the rent situation, everything, the financials, the equipment. I have a tie-up with a store who
Mm.
gives me bulk discounts. So everything, those small
Yeah.
things in business, I
Yeah.
figured them out as I went down the road. But every small victory felt like a big one because I was discovering it on my own.
Wow. You
Yeah.
said it so beautifully, discovering it for yourself, right?
So I was very happy to tell my parents that, see, I
Yeah.
did a deal with it. So it was a
Yes.
good feeling.
Right. Now, we are in 2021 today, and
Yes,
I know because of pandemic, some of these things got
correct.
stalled. Okay. But I'm very clear, and I'm hopeful that, things will get better from here. Now we are in 2021, and you already had like this bunch of kids. I think, what was the highest number of students?
45.
45. Now that's a
Yeah,
large number, right?
3 batches.
3 batches you were running that,
Yeah,
and you are at that stage. Now when you
correct.
look back at 2018, right? How do you feel, and what do you see?
It feels like I've grown a decade in 2 years, business wise,
Yeah.
because that time
Mhm.
everything seemed like a challenge and everything seemed like impossible till I tried it. And now, see, I've come to a point where I am constantly thinking about growth. At that time, it was about survival, making sure
Mm.
the business stays afloat. But now I am certain and I am so sure of myself that after the first wave of the pandemic,
Mm.
I had 25, I went down to 5 again.
Okay.
I bought 5 to 45 again, and
Okay.
people are willing as long as I am putting in that effort, which I will always. So now I am not worried like I was the first time that everything is gone, everything is ruined, the whatever I had put in is gone. No, now I have maintained relationships with everyone. I've kept those groups alive. I make exercise videos and send it to them just
Wow.
to keep that keep me in their minds and them in my mind. So
Absolutely.
Naturally, once we resume, everyone, at least 80% of them are saying that they'll just come back. And they are so desperate. And the kids, they don't understand what all this is. So they once, I think when we stopped, it was the 15th of March, I think, this time round. They kept calling me and saying, Sir, कधी चालू होणार? आता एक आठवड्यात करायचं का चालू? So
Yes.
it was heartbreaking to tell them that we can't, but
I know.
that's how it is.
It shows how much they are looking forward to,
Yes, they
being
really
around
like.
you and getting coached by you on football, right? Uh,
Actually, a few kids left their sport for football, which I am kind of proud of. So,
okay.
so they
Uh,
were learning something else somewhere else, and they
ah,
got a free session because of their friends. I mean, I give
okay.
free sessions to everyone who wants to
Okay.
try it out,
Mm-hmm.
and they like this so much, and they are young, so they are not, into a sport, so they just
Yeah.
switched over to football. That
Yes.
was a great feeling.
Wow. That's great. I mean, that is amazing. So, what is, so let me ask you this. Since you are
Hmm.
a, footballer and now
Hmm.
a football coach, right? Who is your favorite footballer?
There's a person I don't think many people know him. It's called Javier Zanetti. He is
Okay.
the cap. He was the captain of my favorite club, which is Inter Milan, and
Okay.
he typified the perfect gentleman for me. So he played with the same club for 18 years.
Okay.
So I don't know if viewers know what a red card is, but he was a defender and he only got one red card in his career. So he played it like a
Okay.
gentleman. And there's even his autobiography is called Play Like a Man. So
Oh,
like a
okay.
gentleman and be fair, be humble. So all of that I like in football. He is my favorite player of all time.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Sushant. I also did not know
You're
about this
welcome.
player, but I'll check it out.
Please check him out. He is
Yes.
the personification of a gentleman player. So
Yes, yes, we'll check it out. Now, let's come to the part where what is it that you're looking ahead to in your business and in the work
So
that you
in
do?
this
Mm.
journey now, I actually before the pandemic hit, I was in the market for an assistant coach
Mm.
because now I had also uh, shortlisted a few locations where I could expand,
Mm.
and all of these plans are not just being carried forward; they are not just on hold; they are not cancelled. But
Mm.
the next step is to have as many locations as possible, but without losing quality.
Mm.
That's the thing where people suffer. They just add people. Even
Yeah.
in my batches, I've kept it to 15 at most. So
Okay.
15 is manageable because not all 15 come every day.
Yeah.
Some come 3 days a week. So it's 12. And at that point, I am very happy with them because I can give personal attention to them. And one more strategy I developed, actually, it shouldn't be a new one, but I found it by myself, was
Yeah.
to the older kids, the ones who have been with me from the start, I
Yeah.
delegate small tasks to them. I
Okay.
teach them how to teach and I supervise them while they are teaching the new kids. So this helps in team building. This
Yeah.
helps them gain confidence because they think they know that they are good enough to teach normal things like how to pass, how to receive, but they feel uplifted, and then their what do you call it, sense of self, they feel like they are very good at it, and I like to encourage that. So but I
Fantastic.
keep supervising them, it becomes easier for everyone.
Yeah. Absolutely great. So, we have come to the closing part of the conversation,
Hmm.
but I have to ask this question, right? You are following your passion, your wife
Yes.
Madhura is following her
Yes.
passion. So how does it feel like when both of you are following your passion and doing the work that you love to
When
do?
we sit around for a chat right now, we are both very thankful to the things that happened in our life, and the fact that in this today's world where commutes are an hour and a half, 2 hours daily, and everyone is so frustrated of having to travel, we have created our own niche and in something that we both like, and with zero commute, or for me it's 200 meters, so that's not much of a commute anyway.
Yes.
And the fact that neither one of us is getting frustrated with this, and we are both learning the ropes, so as to say, even she is new to business and we are both supporting each other a lot. Our families have been great, we both have been supporting each other.
Yeah.
So, and actually we were, like we discussed in our sessions, down the line we are planning to merge our activities, so some way or the other. But right now we are about establishing our own
Yes.
businesses, but we
Yes.
will.
Yes.
I'm
Fantastic,
super
Sushant.
proud of her. I'm super proud of her.
I
So
know. I know. So this is amazing. This is amazing, Sushant. This
thank
is,
you. This was fun.
now before we complete, right, this conversation, what is that one message that you want to, share with the audience that really made a difference to your journey?
So if you are not happy with your job, don't be afraid to think of something you love. And most importantly, don't be afraid to ask out for help if you can't make it happen by yourself. There will be some of you who can, just switch and make it happen for yourself. But most of us, we need someone to give us that perspective, to give us that guidance. And I think that's what helped me the most. Not being afraid to ask for help when I needed it, and not being and giving help wherever it has been needed. So that's what has helped me.
Sure. Sushant, thank you so much. And I wish you
Thank
all
you,
the
sir.
success, all the very best for your
Thank you
future
so much.
journey. And I look forward to meet you very soon when the
Yes,
pandemic,
once
this
the
lockdown
pandemic is
is
over.
over. My son Ashutosh, he's 10 years old. He's so excited. He knows you, he knows about you already. He knows
Okay.
that you are a football coach. And my son, he's a Messi fan.
Oh,
And so we are looking forward to
you're
meet
most
you.
welcome. Yes.
So hope to see you soon. And thank you so much
Yes,
for your
sir.
time today.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
This was
Thank you.
fun.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.